Your mind is a magnet, and what you focus on expands. This is not just poetic phrasing, it is one of the most observable psychological realities of human life. Everywhere you turn your attention, the world reshapes itself to reflect that focus back at you. Think about it: the moment you decide to buy a red car, suddenly you begin noticing red cars on the street as though they've multiplied overnight. But of course, they were always there. What changed was not the external world but your perceptual filter, the structure of your awareness. And that small example, trivial as it may seem, is a microcosm of how the law of attraction operates at every scale of life. Human beings do not encounter reality in some raw, objective sense. We don't see the world as it is, we see the world as we are. Our nervous systems are not passive recorders of events, they are active shapers of experience. The brain takes the infinite chaos of sensory data and filters it through belief, memory, and expectation, so that what you notice is not neutral. It is profoundly biased toward your dominant concerns. If you are chronically anxious, your mind is trained to pick out threats. If you are resentful, your mind notices slights, insults, and betrayals. And if you are hopeful, you see opportunities, allies, and pathways that others overlook. This is why focus is so powerful. It is not merely that you think about something and it comes to you as though by magic. It's that attention alters perception, and perception shapes behavior. If your mind is consumed by scarcity, you will unconsciously reject possibilities because they don't align with the story you're telling yourself. But if your mind is oriented toward growth, you begin to take steps, small, often invisible ones, that accumulate into massive change over time. Let's put it another way: your attention is the most valuable currency you possess. You pay it out every second of every day, whether you intend to or not. And wherever you invest it, returns will come, for better or worse. That's the terrifying responsibility and also the liberating potential. If you squander your focus on bitterness, envy, and complaint, you are actively cultivating a garden of weeds in your own psyche. But if you discipline your attention toward gratitude, courage, and possibility, you are planting seeds that grow into strength and resilience. This is why so many traditions, both ancient and modern, emphasize the discipline of thought. The Stoics, for example, were relentless about examining their judgments because they understood that an undisciplined mind is a slave to circumstance. Religious traditions, too, often stress the renewal of the mind, the transformation of thought, because thought is the foundation of being. The law of attraction, explained simply, is not some mystical force outside of you. It is the recognition that what you repeatedly contemplate becomes the framework through which you interpret everything else. And over time, that interpretation becomes indistinguishable from reality itself. Now, this principle can be a curse if you ignore it. Consider the person who believes they are fundamentally unworthy of love. They walk into a room already convinced they will be rejected, and so they act guarded, defensive, maybe even cold. Others pick up on that and, unsurprisingly, keep their distance. And what does this person conclude? See, I was right, I am unlovable. But the truth is that their focus generated the very outcome they feared. On the other hand, imagine someone who believes they are capable of growth and worthy of connection. They radiate openness, they listen intently, they show interest. Suddenly, people are drawn to them, not because the world shifted, but because their focus shifted. The implications here are enormous. It means you are not merely a victim of your circumstances, tossed around by fate. You are an active participant in shaping how reality unfolds for you. Your attention is the lever. Your thoughts are not private, they are creative forces that shape your behavior, your relationships, and ultimately your destiny. So the question you must wrestle with is not, does the law of attraction work? Because it is always working. The question is, what am I attracting by what I choose to focus on? If you don't like the trajectory of your life, examine the content of your thoughts. Where does your mind habitually return when you are alone, when you are quiet, when no one else is watching? That inner world is the script you are unconsciously handing to your future. The starting point then is awareness. Become brutally honest with yourself about where your focus goes. Begin to notice the patterns, the fears you rehearse, the grudges you replay, the anxieties you indulge. Each of those is a seed and the harvest is inevitable. But also notice the moments of courage, of gratitude, of vision. Water those, strengthen those, because they too will expand. The law of attraction is not abstract, it is the most practical truth you can embrace. Focus is creation. Attention is destiny. What you dwell on, you become. So guard your mind as you would guard your most valuable treasure, because in the deepest sense, that is exactly what it is. Belief creates the pathway before action does. This is the second truth of the law of attraction, and it is one of the most misunderstood. People often assume that success is purely a matter of hard work, grit, and action, and to a degree that is correct. You cannot sit idle, waiting for fortune to arrive. But what is often overlooked is that your actions are always guided by belief. You do not act randomly. You act in accordance with what you actually think is possible. A person who secretly believes they are doomed to fail will sabotage themselves long before they reach the finish line. They might work hard for a time, but their belief undermines them at every turn. It whispers, "Why bother? You won't make it." And so they quit prematurely, or they avoid risk, or they never fully commit. Contrast that with the person who holds a belief, even a fragile one, that their efforts matter, that their life can improve, that opportunities exist. That belief acts like a compass. It doesn't guarantee an easy road, but it orients them toward the right direction, and that orientation alone increases the likelihood of success dramatically. The truth is that the human brain is designed to seek evidence that confirms what it already believes. Psychologists call this confirmation bias, and while it often traps us, it can also empower us. If you believe you are capable, you will notice evidence of your capability. You will pick up on opportunities, conversations, and ideas that align with your conviction. If you believe you are worthless, you will notice every piece of criticism, every rejection, every failure, and interpret it as proof. The belief comes first, and the world rearranges itself around it. Now, some people dismiss this principle, arguing that belief is just empty wishing. But think carefully about the nature of human progress. Every great achievement in history began with someone believing in something that did not yet exist. The Wright brothers believed human flight was possible, and that belief compelled them to test, fail, and test again. Martin Luther King Jr. believed that racial equality was worth fighting for, even when the odds seemed insurmountable. These individuals didn't act because reality already confirmed their dream. They acted because their belief created a vision that pulled them forward. And this is where the law of attraction is often twisted into something shallow. People imagine that belief alone is enough, that if they simply think positive thoughts, the world will shower them with blessings. But that is not what we are saying. Belief does not replace action. It initiates it. It empowers it. It gives action meaning and resilience. Without belief, action becomes mechanical and fragile. With belief, action becomes energized, purposeful, and relentless. Think of belief like the architect's blueprint. Before a single brick is laid, the structure must exist in the mind. Without that inner design, no amount of labor would create anything coherent. But once the blueprint is clear, effort can be directed efficiently. Belief functions the same way for your life. It shapes your inner blueprint. It tells your subconscious where to go and what to notice. And once you have that, your actions naturally fall into alignment. Belief is also contagious. When you carry conviction, others feel it. People are drawn to those who believe in themselves and their vision, because that belief provides stability in an uncertain world. Leadership itself rests not on having all the answers, but on projecting belief in a direction that others want to follow. This is why self-doubt is so corrosive. It doesn't just weaken you, it weakens everyone around you. And it's why strengthening belief can alter not only your path, but the environment you move through. You might ask, but what if my belief is false? What if I trust in something and fail anyway? That is a fair question. But here's the deeper truth: failure is not avoided by doubting yourself, it is guaranteed by it. If you act with doubt, you cut your potential in half before you even begin. But if you act with belief, even if you fail, you learn, you adapt, and you grow. Belief does not eliminate failure, but it transforms it into a stepping stone rather than a dead end. So what are you telling yourself about your life? What do you truly believe about your future? Because the most dangerous lies are not the ones told by others. They are the ones whispered by your own mind. If you insist on believing that nothing can change, then nothing will. But if you cultivate the belief that change is possible, you carve a path where none seemed to exist before. Belief creates the pathway before action does. So choose your beliefs carefully, because they are not private, they are prophecies you will inevitably live out. Thoughts alone are weak if not powered by emotion. This is something people often misunderstand when they hear about the law of attraction. They imagine that repeating affirmations or writing down their goals is enough. But the truth is, words without emotion are empty. They are like seeds thrown onto dry pavement. Nothing grows there. What gives life to a thought, what makes it magnetic, is the emotional energy attached to it. You've felt this before. Think about the times in your life when you were deeply moved, when you were grateful beyond words, or when you were inspired by a vision of what your life could be. In those moments, your body was alive with energy. Your heart rate shifted, your posture straightened, your eyes brightened. You weren't just thinking, you were feeling in alignment with the thought. And when thought and feeling lock together, you become unstoppable. The law of attraction works through that alignment. Gratitude, in particular, is one of the most powerful forces available to human beings. It may sound cliché, but psychologically, it is profound. When you practice gratitude, you are training your mind to recognize abundance instead of lack. Neuroscience shows that gratitude literally rewires the brain to notice positive patterns in the environment. In other words, when you live in gratitude, your nervous system shifts from scarcity to sufficiency, from fear to confidence. And that shift alters not just your perception, but your behavior. Someone who is grateful sees doors where others see walls. They interpret setbacks as lessons, not curses. They notice kindness in strangers, opportunities in challenges, and beauty in ordinary things. This orientation makes them magnetic to others, because people naturally want to be around someone who radiates positivity. On the other hand, someone who is dominated by bitterness or resentment transmits that energy everywhere they go, and others, often unconsciously, recoil from it. Emotion is contagious, and gratitude is the emotion that attracts rather than repels. This is why simply thinking about your goals is not enough. If you think, "I want to succeed," but you feel anxious, doubtful, or resentful, the emotional signal you are broadcasting is one of fear, not confidence. And fear attracts circumstances that reinforce fear. But if you think, "I want to succeed," and you feel grateful for the opportunities you already have, grateful for the lessons you've already learned, and grateful even for the challenges that will make you stronger, then you broadcast a signal of strength. That energy draws circumstances, people, and resources into your life that align with it. We can take this even deeper. Emotions are not just fleeting moods. They are instructions to the body. When you feel gratitude, your physiology changes. Stress hormones like cortisol decrease, and the brain releases chemicals that improve focus, creativity, and resilience. This is not mystical, it's biological. Your emotions determine whether your body is in a state of survival or growth. And if you want to attract abundance, you must consistently bring yourself into that state of growth. Gratitude is the doorway. Now, here is the paradox: people often wait to feel grateful until something good happens. They tell themselves, "I'll be grateful when I get the promotion, when I find the relationship, when I reach the goal." But the law of attraction works in the opposite direction. Gratitude is not the result of abundance, it is the precondition for it. You must feel grateful before the breakthrough comes. That emotional state is what draws the breakthrough closer. It's not that you are pretending. It's that you are aligning yourself with the reality you are creating. This is why visualization practices are so effective when paired with emotion. If you visualize a future goal but you feel nothing, your brain dismisses it as fantasy. But if you visualize it while feeling the emotions you would have if it were real, joy, gratitude, excitement, then your brain encodes that as a real possibility. It starts looking for evidence in the present moment to match that state. And once you begin noticing evidence, even small fragments, your belief grows stronger, your actions grow bolder, and momentum builds. So the real challenge is not just to control your thoughts, it is to master your emotional state. That doesn't mean ignoring pain or pretending life is perfect. It means refusing to let bitterness or resentment become your dominant mode of being. It means deliberately practicing gratitude, even in small ways, until it becomes the natural lens through which you see the world. And here's the hard truth: your emotional state is your responsibility. Life will throw chaos at you, yes. People will betray you, opportunities will slip away, and hardships will come. But in every moment, you still decide how to interpret and feel about those events. If you give that responsibility away, you forfeit your power to attract anything good. But if you claim it, if you choose gratitude even in the midst of difficulty, you align yourself with growth, strength, and possibility. Emotion fuels the law of attraction. Gratitude is its purest form. When you harness gratitude, you not only change your perception of the world, you change the world that becomes possible for you. So don't wait for life to give you a reason to feel grateful. Create the reason by choosing gratitude first. Because gratitude doesn't just reflect abundance, it multiplies it. The final truth about the law of attraction is this: it demands action. Thought without movement remains a dream. Emotion without expression fades into nothing. Belief without effort dissolves into fantasy. If your focus shapes perception, and your belief creates the pathway, and your emotions provide the fuel, then action is the step that transforms all of that into reality. Without action, the law of attraction collapses into wishful thinking. With action, it becomes a force that can reshape your entire existence. And this is where so many people stumble. They wait for life to hand them certainty before they act. They want the perfect plan, the perfect guarantee, the perfect moment. But waiting for certainty is another form of fear. It is a refusal to trust in your own capacity to move forward in the dark. The truth is that no one has absolute clarity at the beginning of the journey. What they have is direction and enough courage to take the next step. Action is proof of belief. It is easy to say that you want to change your life, but if your daily habits remain the same, then your actions are revealing your true belief that change is not possible. On the other hand, when you begin to act, even in small, almost invisible ways, you are sending a powerful signal to yourself and to the world. I believe my future can be different. And the world responds to that signal in ways that are often unpredictable but unmistakable. Think about how momentum works in physics. A body at rest tends to stay at rest. A body in motion tends to stay in motion. The same principle applies to your life. If you stay still, if you remain paralyzed by indecision, nothing changes. But the moment you act, however small the step, the energy shifts. You start a conversation, you write down the first page, you send the application, you take the risk. That movement opens doors you could not see while you were standing still. Action creates possibility. There is also something deeply psychological at play here. When you act, you prove to yourself that your belief is not hollow. You create evidence that your vision is real, and that evidence strengthens your confidence, which fuels further action. It is a cycle. Belief drives action, and action strengthens belief. The more you act, the more credible your inner vision becomes, not just to you, but to everyone who observes you. And that credibility attracts allies, mentors, and opportunities that would never have appeared had you remained passive. It's important to recognize that action doesn't mean reckless movement. It doesn't mean doing everything at once or forcing outcomes. It means aligning your steps with your intentions deliberately and consistently. If your goal is health, action looks like choosing the nourishing meal, going for the walk, making the appointment. If your goal is connection, action looks like reaching out, listening deeply, showing up authentically. These may seem small, but they are the threads from which the fabric of your future is woven. And here's another critical point: action is what transforms emotion into strength rather than fragility. If you feel inspired but never act, inspiration becomes frustration. If you feel grateful but never express it, gratitude withers. But if you channel emotion into movement, it compounds. It becomes a force in the world. It leaves traces, evidence, and momentum that continue to grow long after the initial spark. This is why the law of attraction is not passive. It is not about sitting on the couch, visualizing wealth, and waiting for it to fall from the sky. It is about aligning your focus, your belief, and your emotion with concrete steps that bring you closer to what you seek. Life rewards movement, not blind movement, not frantic activity, but deliberate, courageous steps taken in faith that your vision is worth pursuing. At some point, you must stop thinking and start moving. At some point, you must risk looking foolish, risk failing, risk discomfort. Because every great life is built not on certainty, but on the willingness to act without it. The law of attraction, at its deepest level, is about this alignment. When your thoughts, beliefs, emotions, and actions converge, you become a force that reshapes not just your life, but the lives of those around you. So here is the challenge: don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't wait until you feel ready. Take the step. However small, however uncertain, take it. Because action is the bridge between the world you imagine and the world you inhabit. The law of attraction is not passive, it is lived, and the only way to live it is to move. So move. Start today. Because the future is waiting, but it only answers those who act.